started it up?
Yep.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're back again, and welcome back to Charlando con la Comunidad. We have here a special guest, daughter Tony Hernandez, and like I told you before, she works with the public schools, and she's a substance abuse specialist, and she's going to answer some questions for us. And I have one question because it pertains to young people, teenagers. So, Tony, what drug are most likely commonly used by teens?
Okay, well, a lot of parents ask me this question if I do a parent presentation at a school, and they worry about meth and cocaine and some other street drugs. And really, the most commonly used ones are cigarettes, alcohol, and marijuana, and other tobacco products. And that's not, I'm not saying that's just in our schools. This is citywide, it's statewide, it's nationwide, that these are what we call the gateway drugs, because they often lead to the use of other drugs and lead to the problems that kids have from drug addiction. Another increase in the last several years has been prescription drugs and over-the-counter drugs, where kids are mixing cough syrup with some other kind of over-the-counter medicine, and they figured out they can get a high from doing that. And so we've seen an increase in that, and like I said, that's all over, and it can be in any school.
So do they do this mainly because that's what they can afford? Is it cheaper, or is it just that it's more attractive to them, or what is the cause?
Well, prescription drugs are expensive. We know prescriptions are expensive. So often that would be happening in the more affluent neighborhoods, the wealthier neighborhoods, where kids could get a hold of prescriptions from their grandparents' bathrooms, stealing their parents' medicine. The other drugs, cigarettes and alcohol, kids can get out of their mom's purse, out of their dad's fridge, so it's easy for them to get beer, and even marijuana. A lot of times you will hear that it's easier to get marijuana than alcohol. Unfortunately, there's lots of adults who use the marijuana, so it could be that somebody's parents have that in the home too.
So is that one of the reasons why they are used more than like meth or cocaine or any other drugs, or is there another reason for that?
Right, because the reason is that they are easier to get. Cigarettes and alcohol are the most abused drugs. More people die from those two than if you put all the illegal drugs together. More people die from those two because they are legal, and that makes them easier to get. Even though a fifth grader isn't old enough, they could still have access to those drugs because they're legal for adults. That means they're going to be handy for them to get.
So if a person is, let's say he's addicted to cocaine, as long as he can afford it, can he live longer than he would if he smoked cigarettes?
Well, it's hard to say. Now, I tell students that you won't drop dead from smoking cigarettes. And so that's why it seems safe to them, because they see people smoke for years and years and they don't drop dead. But you can drop dead from using meth or cocaine. You can die the first time you try it. But that could even happen with, there's also chemicals that people inhale. We call that the fourth gateway drug, inhalants, where people use household chemicals and inhale them. That could kill you the first time you use it. That is illegal if you're using it to get high. Yeah, cocaine, some people could use it for years and years, but they'll still have some, dangerous effects on their body, but they might not die. But you never know, because then there's other people who could have a heart attack from one time.
Wow. Now, let's talk about marijuana. Now, is that? I know they're selling it in a couple of states already, but will it ever be safe enough to be legal?
Okay. Well, marijuana is not safe, and it is not a medicine. So a lot of states have legalized it for medicinal use because it can help kill pain, and it helps people with cancer who have lost their appetite. And marijuana, one of the effects is that it increases your appetite. So what I explained to the students is that marijuana it does not treat your cancer or your glaucoma. It does some other things, but there are other medicines that are better for treating cancer and glaucoma. But there's a big push from pro-marijuana users and sellers. There's a big push to get it medicinal marijuana legalized, because they know that if people think that it's safe enough to be a medicine, then it would be safe enough to be used for recreational purposes. But it is still very dangerous. It has chemicals that are unknown yet to researchers. I showed you the tar jar earlier, and it shows how much tar would be in your lungs from smoking a pack a day of cigarettes. Well, if you smoked marijuana, there would be even more of that tar in your lungs. Marijuana is known to be addictive. There's still a lot of research that hasn't been found yet, but there is some that shows that marijuana is linked to some mental illnesses, as well as cancer, and of course it can do a lot of the same things that alcohol can do. A lot of the same kind of effects, so you should not be driving or operating heavy machinery if you're high on marijuana. So it does have a lot of dangerous and bad side effects.
Wow. So I just want to know what I know that sometimes it gets out of control, and sometimes the parents don't have as much control as they would like to have, but what is it that they can do to maybe control some of this?
Well, first, I talk about prevention, and parents can start talking, and prevention means to delay the use of any drugs. And so parents can start talking to their children about drug use. At very young ages. So, you can use those teachable moments when you're watching TV or a movie, and there are people using drugs. You can talk to your children. The most important thing to tell them is your expectations, that you do not want them to use drugs. It's really important that they know that you expect them not to use anything.
So it's something you have to just emphasize over and over, until they kind of get it, I suppose. But we can probably end our show with a little bit of a few comments about what can kids do to advocate for their community.
And so kids can look also on the MOTAC website. There is another group that focuses on underage drinking called Project Extra Mile, and they have a website, they have a youth group, and they can go to their school counselors or teachers or coaches and ask them to help sponsor any kind of a youth group that would advocate for drug-free activities. And they can even ask their parents to try to keep family activities drug-free. such as not allowing alcohol at quinceañeras and graduation parties, and not allowing minors, kids under 18, or I'm sorry, kids under 21 to drink, or kids under 18 to smoke around them.
So you think sometimes the kids, when they see a lot of that going on at a party, they see the adults doing it and they think they want to more or less try it themselves, or they want to just they think it's they think it's fun or
Right. They think that's what being grown up is, and a lot of kids want to be grown up, and so they say that that's how I'm going to be when I'm grown, and some are growing up too early, and want to look grown up, and so they think that it's expected that they will smoke or drink or use any other drugs.
That's good. I hope now. I hope everybody gets this message about. I know it, like Tony was saying, it's very hard to give up a lot of these habits, but people maybe should try and put a little more effort into it. And I suppose it must be very painful to go ahead and try to different programs or to have different things that you might want to take. But I want to thank Tony for being here and explaining all these things for us. And I think they really very informative. And I hope that we can come back with something better, or even but these nice messages that we can give the people. And I thank you very much, and I hope to see you next week. Thank you very much. Good night.